Hello boys and girls, as you may remember last week we started learning about three-dimensional shapes and we are going to continue today Monday with lesson 11.2. So you make sure you're on the correct page. It's lesson 11.2 and it's page 639. Alright, so let's see what we have to do here. Lesson 11.2 says combine three-dimensional shapes, and our essential question is how can you combine three-dimensional shapes to make new shapes? That's what we're going to learn today. So let's see what we have to do here. It says trace to draw the new shape and write to name the new shape. So there are two names here. Here we have Mandy and Carl. So let's see, here we have something that looks like a cylinder, a big cylinder with a line. Looks like it has a line over here in between, right? But it's actually nothing else, boys and girls. That's my cone over there. Than one cylinder on top of another cylinder. So when you put one cylinder, boys and girls, on top of another cylinder, this is what you get. You get a bigger cylinder, right? That's what we have here. We have one cylinder on top of another. So what I want you to do now is that I want you to trace the big cylinder. We're going to trace the new shape that is formed after we combine two cylinders. So you try your best to circle, or actually to trace. And boys and girls, what new shape do we get? Do we get a new shape? No. When we combine two cylinders, we still have one cylinder. So the shape that you still have here, it's a cylinder. We're gonna write the name of the shape. It looks bigger, but it's still the same. So that's the name of the new shape. Oh, let's go ahead and take a look at the second one. So in the second one, boys and girls, you can see a cube on top of another cube. And I'm sorry I didn't have my cubes ready. I'm gonna try to get them out of the bag really quick so I can show you what Carl did here. Okay, so here I have as you can see here, I have one cube and I'm gonna put another cube on top. I'm gonna bring it up over here with the light. As you can see, boys and girls, this is what you're looking at on your book too. You have one cube on top of another cube. One cube on top of another cube. Now, do you still have a cube? No, you're right. You don't have a cube anymore because now you have a rectangular prism. So if you put two cubes together, boys and girls, you have a rectangular prism. And that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna write what you get. You get a rectangular. Oh no. Oh my goodness, that pencil broke. Such a shame. Alright, so we have a rectangular. Oh, that's such a long word, right? Rectangular prism. Alright, so by stacking one cylinder on top of another one, you don't get a different shape. But by stacking one cube on top of another one, you get a different shape. Now instead of two cubes, you have one rectangular prism. Alright, so we're gonna move on to our next page. Let's see if we can also move our book over here. And you have an example at the top of the page, boys and girls. It says you can put shapes together to make a new shape. How can you do that? Well, let's take a look at it. If you got a cube and a rectangular prism and you put, these are all the things, all the ways, or at least some of the ways in which you can combine a cube and a rectangular prism. So here we're combining them by putting a cube under and a rectangular prism on top. Here we put the rectangular prism on the bottom and then we put the cube on top. And here we're stacking one on top of the other one this way. Look at it. It looks like a longer rectangular prism. It looks like a tower. All right. So that example gave you more ideas of how to stack two shapes, two three-dimensional shapes. Let's take a look at this one now. Here we have a cylinder and we have a cube. Which new shape can you make? Circle it. So if we stack this cylinder and this cube, what new shape would you get? Would you get this one or this one? And if you said this one, you are so smart, because this one is the shape that you get by stacking a cylinder and a cube. This one has a cube but doesn't have a cylinder. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2, we're combining a rectangular prism and a cylinder. What shape do you get by combining a rectangular prism and a cylinder? And if you said the second one again, you are so right. It is the second one again, because we are not combining a cone. This shape has a cone. Alright, let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is the last one on this page. Now we are combining a cone and a rectangular prism. So look at it. Which one do you think is? Which one has the cone? This one. So now it's a different one. It's the first one, because this one doesn't have a cone, right? We have to look at the shapes that we are combining. All right, so we're ready to move on to our next page. This lesson is pretty easy, and I'm sure you're gonna be happy about that, right? Because we have so many difficult lessons. All right, boys and girls. So we're gonna combine two cubes now. What happens when you combine two cubes? What shape do you make? The first or the second one? If you said the second one, you are very, very right. Because this one has a rectangular prism, but you don't have a rectangular prism here. So when you combine two cubes, this is one of the ways that you can combine it. Another way could be by putting one on top of the other, right? So here we go. Now we have a cone and we have a cylinder. What shape do we get when you combine a cone and a cylinder? Would you get this one or this one? And it's actually the first one, because we have a cone and a cylinder, and this one has a cone but doesn't have a cylinder, so it has to be the first one. Number 6, we have two rectangular prisms. What happens when we combine two rectangular prisms? What do we get? Do we get this or do we get this? We get the first one. Very good, because the thing is that here you can see a cylinder, but there are no cylinders here to combine. Alright, boys and girls, I want you to try to do this one on your own. Here we are combining a cube and a cone. Which shape do you think we get? We're gonna combine a cube and a cone. What new shape do we get? Cuando combinamos un cubo y un cono, ¿qué figura obtenemos? Quiero que hagan esto solitos. And the last one is the trickiest one. Why? Because you are combining three shapes now. So instead of combining two shapes like we've done before, we are going to combine three shapes now. What are the shapes that we're going to combine? We're going to combine a cone, we're going to combine a rectangular prism, and we're going to combine a cylinder. So what shape do you think we form? Which picture shows a shape that you can get when you combine the cone, the rectangular prism, and the cylinder? Yeah, you're very right. It has to be this one. And it has to be this one because on this one you can see a cube. On the first one you can see a cube. But there's no cube here. You have a rectangular prism, you have a cylinder, and you have a cone. So this is the one that you get. Do not forget that I want you to do this one on your own. Quiero que hagan esto solitos. Alright, boys and girls, so let's move on to our next page. And this is going to be our last page for this lesson, and then we'll get into the homework. Oh, look at the yummy ice cream. I wonder what flavor that is. It says circle the shapes you could use to model the ice cream cone. This is an ice cream cone, you see? So you use the word cone when you want to describe your ice cream. My ice cream is on a cone. Right? So what shapes do you think we could use to model this ice cream cone? Look at, could we use a rectangular prism? So we can cross it out. Could we use a sphere? I think so, because the top of the ice cream, it looks like a sphere. Can we use a cylinder? No, we can X it out. But we can use the cone. If you turn it upside down, you could use the cone, and on top, you put the sphere, and then it looks like the cone and the ice cream. All right, so question number 10. Circle the ways to make the same shape. So once again, which are the ways that make the same shape? It looks like a big cube, right? So which are the ones that look like a big cube? If you can see, if you can notice, this one over here is the only odd one. The odd one out is the only one that is different. Because this one, and this one look like a big cube. So they have, even though they use different shapes, because here you're using 4 cubes, here you're using 2 rectangular prisms, and here you're using 1 rectangular prism and 2 cubes. Even though they are using different 3-dimensional shapes, they are still, they still form the same shape, like a big cube, right? So these are the ones that have the same shape. And last, we have number 11. We're gonna combine a rectangular prism, and we are also going to combine a cone. Choose all the new shapes you can make. So which are the shapes that we get when we combine a rectangular prism and a cone? I would say this one, right? Because here we can see a rectangular prism and a cone. So I would say this one. Can you find the last one? There's one more shape that you will get by combining a cone and a rectangular prism. All right, so it's your job to look for that one. And once you're done, you can unpause the video. There's one more. Don't forget, there's one more. Hay uno más. And then we're gonna move on to our homework. So let's take a look at the homework. Let's see what we have to do here. It says combined 3-dimensional shapes. That's the same thing that we've been doing before. Use 3-dimensional shapes. So it's okay if you don't have these wood shapes at home. You can look at the pictures. So here you have a cube and a rectangular prism. What shape do you get by combining a cube and a rectangular prism? Very good. All right. So here we have a cylinder and a rectangular prism. What shape do we get by combining a cylinder and a rectangular prism? I know you can do it. All right, boys and girls. Number 3. Circle the shapes you could use to model the bird feeder. So this is the bird feeder, boys and girls. What shapes form a bird feeder? Could it be, look at the shapes that you have. You have a cylinder at the bottom and you have a cone on top. So these 2 shapes are forming a bird feeder. Which of these are a cylinder and a cone? Which of these are a cylinder and a cone? You're gonna circle them. All right, and our last one for this page, you're going to combine 2 shapes to make a new shape. Describe how you put the shapes together. So you can say, you can draw the little picture right here, and then you can say, I don't know what are the shapes that you're gonna use, but you can say, I put a, so you have to come out with their own shape. You can say, I put a cube on top, or you can put, I don't know, maybe a cone, or maybe a cylinder. I put a cone, or whichever name you want to use. Don't forget, you're missing a word here. On top of a, what happened to the line of mine? So don't forget, you're gonna add the name of the shapes, the name of the 3-dimensional shapes that you want to use to combine. I put a blank on top of a blank. All right, boys and girls, so we're moving on to our last page for the math homework for this lesson, lesson 11.2. All right, let's see what we have to do here. So circle the shape that combines a cylinder and a cone. So which shapes are formed out of a cylinder and a cone? It's your job to look for that shape. Let's see. Write the sum. Write how many tens. So we're gonna, I know it's easy to add it that way, but I know it's easier for you to put one number on top of the other one. So all you have to do is make sure you put your ones with your ones and your tens with your tens, and you're ready to add. 0 plus 0, 4 plus 2, and you'll get your answer. You're gonna write it here and here. All right, boys and girls, and last we have question number 3. Emmy has 15 crayons. She gives some crayons to Joe. Now she has 9 crayons. How many crayons did Emmy give to Joe? Use the model to solve. So in total, we know that we have 15, but we also know that she gave some to Joe. We don't know how many she gave away, but we also know that now she only has 9 left out of 15. So here you're missing one of the addends. When you're missing one of the addends, even though it's an addition, you still have to take away. So we're gonna say 15, take away 9, because that's the other number that you have. And then your answer, you're gonna write it here. And the easiest way to do this is to put, since you're subtracting, it's minus, you're gonna count from the smaller number to the greater number. So you put 9 in your head, and you're gonna count. You're gonna go ahead and count after 9. So after 9 goes 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. How many circles did it take you to get from 9 all the way to 15? That's your answer. Count them, and that's your answer. All right, boys and girls, so we're gonna stop for now, and well, I'll see you later for social studies. That's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna do social studies. So for social studies, our next video, you're going to need your brown bags, and you're also going to need your pictures, some pictures that you're gonna cut. Oh well. See you later then.